Hey guys, Alex and Silvia here. We're back, and today we're going to talk about losing yourself in a relationship, some common signs and symptoms that you may see, and then we're going to offer you some solutions to that.
Hello there. How are you doing, beautiful souls? Nice to see you again. Losing yourself in a relationship.
Yeah,
Why is it important?
because it's an opportunity,
An opportunity for what?
an opportunity to put yourself in a different position,
Okay.
to recognize something and then make a change.
Okay. So ultimately, it's a positive thing.
It's a thing that can be taken as a positive thing. It's showing you something about yourself.
I like that. So losing yourself in the relationship can be an opportunity to reconnect with yourself, discover who you are today as opposed to maybe when the relationship started, or even maybe establishing whether the partner you chose is the right partner ultimately for you or not.
Yeah, that's why we're talking about in the beginning, in that honeymoon phase, where everything seems so good, right? What happens when that changes, right? You were saying that that can change.
Yeah, sometimes it can change. The first 6 months everything is nice and beautiful, and then after that you have the phase where both parties get more comfortable with each other, and then they start showing their true colors for real. And sometimes it's possible that one of the partners feels that things have changed somehow, like energy-wise, and starts wondering what's going on and maybe tries to voice these concerns, but perhaps the other partner is not very
Open to it?
open to it, and partner A continues searching for reasons or solutions, and they completely get lost along the way, and then partner B even doesn't validate their concerns, and eventually even maybe even accuses them of what happened to you, you changed. Then all of a sudden partner A is like completely lost, completely alone in this whole thing, because they feel completely entirely misunderstood and disconnected.
So
So that it happens sometimes. It's
this
a
is what
possibility.
happens when there's a lack of connection for too long. So two people are disconnected for too long in the relationship, you will inevitably lose yourselves, right?
But let's talk about, that's true. I agree. But this is just one example. Like, that doesn't necessarily happen all the time in every relationship after 6 months in. But we would like to point out the common signs of when somebody is lost in a relationship, or on their way to be lost in that relationship.
Symptoms.
How we can tell. Yeah, symptoms. So for instance, a loss of identity. So when you lose interest for your own hobbies, goals and things that you love to do, that could be a sign. Another sign is emotional exhaustion, when you feel drained and disconnected, even when you spend time with your partner. And this one is huge.
I have 2 points to make before.
Yeah.
So for the loss of identity part, the other partner should always keep in mind, me towards you and you towards me, the hobbies that I like to do and the hobbies that you like to do, and it's important for both people in the partnership to
Take a note.
make sure that they give the other person the time to continue to practice those hobbies and continue to carry out those interests, so that you're not limiting them from being able to identify, a loss of identity with themselves. And then for
Wait. So meaning, like, the fact that you begin a relationship or you're in a relationship and you're in love with your partner doesn't mean that you have to abandon your favorite activities. We could spend less time with our friends now that we're in a relationship, but that's different than completely abandoning your favorite activities and things that make you feel good, that fill up your own cup. So very important to keep it, in order to keep the relationship healthy, to keep doing the things that make you happy. But if you find yourself that you're not doing them, that's a sign of abandonment and a sign that you're on your way to getting lost or you've already lost yourself within the relationship. Something to keep in mind.
I think everything is going to boil down to neglect. So either you're neglecting yourself, your partner could be neglecting your needs, but it's always going to boil down to some sort of neglect. So you're
Or both.
Yes, you're neglecting to carry out your favorite hobbies. Then the emotional exhaustion part, where you feel drained. You know, the house needs to be a garden, right? And when you come back, it should be rejuvenative for you.
Yeah.
And if you come home and that environment, that space that you're in doesn't lift you up, doesn't make you happy, emotional exhaustion. Something's wrong here.
Right.
Something's wrong with the energy that it needs to be looked at.
Yeah, you come home and it's your little fortress, right? And your little garden, and instead of like looking forward to spending time with your partner does his own thing, and then you do your own thing, and then you don't even connect at night. Not mentioning about
Neglect, lack of connection, they're all the same things.
Yes.
And that garden that you're coming home to, that garden that you have, is the union, is the relationship, right? It's not the space, it's not the walls, it's not the things.
No.
It's wherever you've made home, and that can be over here, that can be over here. And if that home for you is not a rejuvenating place,
it's a problem.
you will be emotionally exhausted, no question.
That's true. And you can unintentionally make it for yourself so
Yeah.
by bringing home, you know, some people are not capable of leaving their work at work when they leave work, and they bring it home. But it's not just like, okay, I'll share with you my day sucked and this is what happened, and then you guys talk about it and figure it out, and you make yourself feel better by sharing and figuring out solution. It's not really that. It's more about like those people who bring it home, but they're also not willing to share with you because maybe they're too proud, maybe their ego is in the way, maybe they don't want to be seen weak by their partner by admitting that something happened at work and they couldn't handle that situation. Or there was an issue that they couldn't come up with a solution. So, and they're not willing to share with their partner that they didn't manage at that moment to come up with a solution. They don't want to be seen in that light. They don't want to be seen weak. They don't want to ask for help because that's also a form of weakness. Which is, it's not a form of weakness. It's a form of, it's a vulnerability. And without vulnerability in a relationship, you got nothing, regardless if it's the man or the woman. You need to be vulnerable, and you should absolutely feel comfortable to be vulnerable in front of your partner. Because if you can't do this in front of your own partner, where are you gonna hide? In the closet? Like in the bathroom? Like, this is your home. This is the person you've chosen to spend your life with. You have to be able to feel comfortable to be all sorts of moods and freaking, you know, like feelings. Human. You're just a human. You're just a human, and your partner should not be judging you for being a human. And they should, you know, you guys should be able to find a way to create a safe space where you can feel comfortable being yourself and sharing and feeling heard and, you know, connected. So when you don't have that in your relationship, you're certainly not in a good place, and the partner who is not allowed, who sees you that you have this issue, and you're not allowing them to peek in, you're not allowing them to see you vulnerable, you're basically torturing them. You're torturing them. You cannot do that to your partner. You have to find ways to work to create this for yourself, to get over it and be able to open and be able to communicate. You know, it's very painful for one partner to watch the other partner going through these motions and not be able to offer any help, because Like, you do you, I do me, and let me watch my game, and like, I don't want to talk about the elephant in the living room. You can't, this is, it's not exactly a union, if you know what I mean. Neglecting self-care, another symptom that you're on your way to be lost in your relationship, or you already are lost. And that means emotionally, physically, mentally. If you neglect yourself, if you're not filling your own cup, you're gonna fall apart. And your partner is not gonna do it for you, and you can't blame your partner for not doing it for you. You're not going to be an attractive person either if you neglect yourself. You have to always start with yourself. In order to be 100% for the people that you love, you have to make sure that you fill up your own cup, emotionally, mentally, physically. Do whatever makes you happy. Do whatever, just all those things that make you feel at your best, basically. Lack of joy. All those activities that brought you joy and fun before, all of a sudden don't bring you joy and fun. That's another sign that you're lost in your relationship or on your way to lose yourself. Feeling misunderstood. If you feel misunderstood by your partner doesn't acknowledge your feelings, you feel like you're talking to a wall, you are trying to communicate how you feel like something is wrong, and let's address it together, let's work on it together, we're in this together, I'm here for you, let's talk it over, and then the other person is like blaming you that you're overreacting and pretending that nothing is happening, and completely not validating your feelings, and you literally feel like you're talking to a wall. That's a huge sign that things are need to be addressed, straightforward. You can't beat around the bush. And obviously, when you do express these concerns, what was I gonna say? When you do express these things, you want to also make sure that you leave your partner space to think, to reflect, to take time to assimilate what you've said, and come back to you. And then together you can come up with a game plan how to overcome this. Sometimes, if things are really bad, you may need professional help. Nothing wrong with that. Or if you can't, figure it out by yourselves at home. But as long as you're working on it together, you can get somewhere. If your partner, though...
In some form,
yeah. And if your partner, though, completely says that you're crazy and you don't know what you're talking about, that's a problem. Or if your partner, listens, and then goes to sleep and, I don't know, shuts down, and 3 days after they come back to you, but not with a desire to talk this over, they just continue their life as if nothing have ever happened, you can recognize a pattern there that it will not disappear and will not go away,
because it's a lack of reflection on the other person's part.
They're not facing the problem. They're pretending, they're under the carpet. So these are the things that you need to, if you have any of these in your relationship, then you know what you're dealing with. You know that you have lost yourself in a relationship. Now, why losing yourself in a relationship is not a bad thing? We already said that actually it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe it's the universe giving you a sign that you need to reevaluate certain things. Who you are today, what you like, what you don't like. Have you set the boundaries? Have you expressed what you want? Have you, have you made clear there's certain things, compromises are good and useful, but there are certain things that you cannot compromise, ever. So revisit those, they're for you. Make sure your partner is aware of those. They're very individual. Or, you know, the big question, have I actually chosen the right partner for myself? Like, sometimes people rush into relationships. Sometimes everything is so passionate. 6 months in, you live together. 1 year after, a ring is on that hand. And then it's the marriage, and then you're pregnant, and or whatever. And then all of
Whatever
a
it may
sudden,
be.
yeah, and notice that 4 years down the road, you're like, well, maybe we rushed into this marriage. Oh yeah? Really? Great. You know? So, sorry. Like, but
That's why it's important to, from the very, very beginning, to be yourself so that you are happy. So you have to come in happy and you show that state of you at your happiest in front of your partner, and your partner accepts you like that. And your partner then needs to love you for who you are and not who they may want you to be, and not who you may be, this is on your end, acting like.
you
Both-
gotta bring in the full spectrum of your
yourself.
personality.
Be yourself.
Be the most authentic version of yourself. Shine bright and see if they can handle it. And if they can, then you've chosen the right partner. If they can't, then you gotta keep looking. You know. I would like to say something about relationships that, at least, and this is my opinion, based on personal experience, based on observations throughout my life with girlfriends, gazillion examples around me in my life. But what I would like to say is that I believe that a woman brings a lot into a relationship. She brings a lot to the table. And these are not like little things. They're major, fundamental things when it comes to like wisdom and experience and you know, intuition, instinct, all those things that when you love a man, you know, you enforce him like that. You bring the best. You know, you can literally make of your man a king. You're, as the queen that you are, you make the man that you've chosen as your partner the king, and together you build an empire. And this is the reason why I believe that the man in the relationship has to treat that woman literally like a queen and put her on a pedestal. And so when a woman is on a pedestal, everything is great, because if he keeps her happy, she is gonna keep him happy, the children happy, the life is gonna be pure equilibrium. But if the man doesn't put the woman on pedestal, how long do you think she's gonna stick around and suck it up? I mean, she won't. Like, eventually she's gonna pick up and leave. So, gentlemen, I'm saying this with all good intentions. You've chosen a woman, you know, your taste, class, this, that, bam. Treat her like a queen, because she's gonna multiply everything you give her. She's gonna, you know, bring to you all her wisdom, all her feminine power, all her everything, all the beautiful things that a woman can bring to the table to help you become, you know, the king of your empire, the emperor of your empire in this world. So make sure you treat your woman like a queen, because then this continuous exchange of love and respect can go on forever, you know, especially when you have mutual goals. Because if you don't have the mutual goals, then you can grow apart, frankly. Yeah, but if you don't treat your woman as a queen, this is when sooner or later she's gonna pick up and leave. And the next one is going to do exactly the same if you continue doing exactly the same. And I would like to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if you happen to see yourself as a macho, for instance, you know, macho, we know machos. Mm-hmm. You know, please do not even think for a second that treating your woman with respect and putting her on a pedestal is going to make you less of a man. For God's sake, don't you dare think that. Like, there are certain cultures and places around the world where the man thinks that the woman is below him. We live in America. I'm not gonna go there. But, you know, don't think that if you do that, if you give the respect, if you give the equality in the relationship, you're gonna feel less of a man. There's no chance. On the contrary, I promise you that your woman is gonna make you feel stronger than you've ever been before. I promise you that. And so, ladies, to you, what I would like to say is, please make sure from the beginning of the relationship that it's all about the woman. The relationship is all about the woman. You know, if you make me feel happy, I'll bring you the world. It's like that. So, do you agree?
I agree. I agree. I think, look, every man wants to see himself as a king or an emperor of his own empire, however he's building it, whatever extent it is. And next to an empire, an emperor, or next to a king, you need to have a queen. And so how does a king treat a queen?
Like a queen.
Like a queen. So it's important that the one that's with you, you treat them the way that they deserve to be treated, the way that is part of your empire.
Yes, exactly. So beautiful. It's a union. It's a union. There is no internal competition. You know, you can have playful, sexy competition, but not a real competition where we're measuring who's bigger, for the lack of better word selection. But yeah, so very, very important. In order to not lose yourself in a relationship is to treat your woman as a queen, and for your man to know that he needs to do that. You have to let him know from the beginning. There are certain things women have to do from the beginning. I'm literally gonna write a manual about that, or create a course.
It's the same, by the way, it's exactly the same for a man. All you need to do in the very beginning, if you're looking for an honest and a real relationship, is just lay out the things that you're looking for. Right away, be honest with your woman, the things that you're expecting. And it goes both ways. And you do that by being yourselves.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then you both know what it takes to make the other person happy.
Yes, and
so
it's
you both
exciting.
keep each other happy, of course.
And it's exciting. And keeping each other happy is the goal. You know? It's like a dance. It's like a love dance. So, losing yourself in the relationship has 2 points, you said, yes? One is when you get lost because you feel disconnected with your partner?
Yes. It's from the perspective of you losing yourself. Because you're focusing outward instead of inward. You're not meeting your needs.
Yes, so you're focused on your partner's reactions. You know, you're so deep in love that, you know, how they feel, are they happy, are they satisfied, they, you know, not complaining about anything, is everything okay? You're so involved with that you completely forget yourself and your needs, emotional or physical, psychological needs. So that's from your perspective.
And the other perspective is also from your perspective, but you know, are you meeting your partner for the deep connection that your partner wants? Right? Or are you neglecting them? Because it takes two to tango.
Yes, so when your partner is expressing concerns, or, you know, in their attempts to communicate with you, they say, you know, I just, this is how this makes me feel, and I think that, la 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 la, you have to actively listen to them. Not send them to hell by telling them that they're imagining stuff and, you know, they
validate their feelings.
Validate their
Validate
feelings.
their feelings. If your partner
Don't
feels
ignore.
disconnected, then validate their feelings and hear them out. Most likely it's because, you know, you just need to figure out how to have more connection. That's it.
Yeah. Listen,
That's it. And then you talk it through.
Yeah, sometimes life happens and different things hit us. Could be anything, right? Like the reasons are not really important. But the bottom line is that when these things happen to you, you have to still manage to remember that the goal is to protect your union. And these outside noises and ways that weigh you down, you can handle with time and perhaps even with the help of your partner if you let them in and you share with them as you should, and not prioritize the noise and the weight that weighs you down over the health of your relationship, of your union.
This goes both ways, by the way. This goes for men and this goes for women. So your career is only, or even your hobbies and the things that those are, what you do. They're not quite who you are. So you do those things, you take pleasure in them, and then you come back and you have your union where you have to have that connection. And it's important to maintain that connection
100%.
in addition to all the other things that you do.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because the goal is love, and then you have the mutual goal of the two of you, and then everything is easy because there's no ego. There shouldn't be any ego. There's no you and I. There's no nothing and nobody should be able to stand between the two of you. When that bond is so strong that it's unbreakable, you can literally get over everything together.
So when you have those moments where you feel lost, not because of the relationship, but lost in something else, maybe you're not successful in this endeavor, or you're struggling over here, or something's not doing well over here, if you're coming home and your relationship is stable and you can be yourself in that and be honest and get that support from your partner, that's going to give you the strength that you need to rejuvenate so that you can go back to the other things, whatever battlefield you're on, right? In whatever passions and things you're following that have still stuck with you, and you still maintain the relationship and the union is a regenerative garden, like
Yes.
we were saying,
Yes.
ruled by a king and a queen.
Beautifully said. I couldn't say this better.
That might be all we have for today.
Yes, so don't discourage if you find yourself lost in a relationship. Look for the silver lining. Rediscover who you are, what you want, what you like. Establish whether your choice of a partner is correct. And, talk to your partner. Open conversation, create the safe space, talk about it, and together try to overcome it. Whoever caused it should also do everything possible to fix it with your help so that the two of you can continue forward. And if they refuse to do the work, if they refuse to acknowledge, if they refuse to fix it, then you gotta just, wish them the best and leave. You do not stay in this type of relationship. And it's all for the better, because why would you waste your time with such a person who doesn't validate your feelings and opinions?
So like we said, it's
But
an
it's all for the
opportunity.
better. Then
It's
you're
an
going to find the
opportunity.
one who does, and then you're going to have an amazing life. So it's all good. You got this. See you next time.
See you next time.